Coming up, a Central Kentucky Sheriff's deputy is dead after being shot in the line of duty.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. A sheriff's deputy was killed in the line of duty today in Scott County. We are still piecing together exactly what happened, but here is what we know. Scott County Sheriff Tony Hampton confirms Deputy Caleb Conley, seen here, was shot in the line of duty during a traffic stop along I-75. The shooting happened at a rest stop at the 127 exit southbound. The suspect took off. Now later, Lexington police responded to a second scene involving a shooting where one person was shot and another was taken into custody. However, investigators have not connected the two. Deputy Conley was a decorated deputy since being sworn into the sheriff's office in Scott County in July 2019.
He was a damn good deputy, and he loved his job. He took it very serious, and he's out there today doing his job. Look what happened to him. A coward coming through our county on I-75 took his life.
This was the scene earlier tonight as officers from all around the region unified for procession, taking Deputy Conley from UK Hospital in Lexington to Frankfort. Officers rushed to the hospital immediately after hearing Conley had been shot and was taken there. When they learned he did not survive, they stayed with him as he was transported. We will keep you updated on this investigation. Still a lot of unanswered questions. As we get more information, we'll post it on WYMT.com. We've unfortunately seen this kind of tragedy recently right here in eastern Kentucky. Back in October, London police officer Logan Medlock was hit and killed by a drunk driver. 36-year-old Casey Bird from Tennessee was charged with murder. His case is still moving through the courts. And late last June, 3 officers and a police canine were killed in an ambush in Floyd County. Prestonsburg Police Captain Ralph Frazier, Floyd County Sheriff's Deputy William Petrie, Prestonsburg Officer Jacob Chaffins, and K-9 Drago were all killed. 4 other officers were injured. Lance Storts was arrested for those crimes, but later committed suicide while awaiting trial. And it was just last week, you saw in that video, all those officers who died in the line of duty last year in eastern Kentucky were honored in Washington, D.C. In other news, a Whitley County grand jury indicts a babysitter on abuse charges. 53-year-old Charlene Lowe is facing counts of first-degree criminal abuse of a child and wanton endangerment. She was charged back in March. State police say Lowe was babysitting a 2-year-old boy for a week while the boy's mother was working. They say after the boy was dropped off at his mother's work, he was taken to UK Hospital. Investigators say he had several bruises and a footprint on his abdomen. In an interview with police, Lowe claimed the injuries came from the boy falling out of bed. Crews have continued to battle a fire that keeps flaring up at Crow Tire and Battery in Hazard. The fire originally broke out last night, reigniting again early this morning. Responders returned to the scene again around 5:30 this evening to battle the rekindled fire.
We're just having a hard time with all the tires in the building. You just can't hardly put them out with water, and there was an estimate of 4,000 tires is what an employee told me. So we're just having a hard time keeping them out. We'll get them out and think we're in good shape, and then 2 or 3 hours later, it's back going again.
So the road has been closed on and off throughout the day in front of the tire store there. Just want to use caution if you're going through that area. Hazard Fire Chief Robert Keith says they are continuing to keep an eye on the situation. He says the cause of the fire cannot be determined due to the extent of the damage, but those with the business are working to salvage any equipment they can from the bottom part of the building. Fortunately, no injuries were reported.
A warm day outside today. Many of us feeling like, well, maybe not summer, but definitely late spring all throughout the region with those temperatures flirting with 80. Here's a look at how we ended up today. Middle and upper 70s throughout much of the Kentucky River and Big Sandy River valleys, and closer to 80 as you head down into the Cumberland Valley. 80 was where we ended up at London, 81 in Middlesboro, and as has been the case recently, Harlan comes in with our warmest temperature at 82. We're already in the low to mid 60s out there, even some upper 50s. Look at Irvin at 58. Same thing over on the other side of the region at Grundy, 59 Clintwood. I think we're all dropping into the upper 50s tonight. Just some of that low level moisture on pinpoint Doppler. None of that's reaching the ground. Your forecast first as we head through tomorrow. Looking good if you're headed out for that early run. If you're pouring that bowl of cereal in the morning, and we're looking pretty good as well, starting off with some scattered clouds and temperatures near 60. Steve, I'll have the details on when we could see maybe a return to a few showers in a few minutes.
All right, Evan, thanks. The debt ceiling has been raised by Congress dozens of times in the past 70 years so the U.S. can pay its bills. But during the past decade, it has more often become part of a last-minute negotiation that has left the global economy teetering on the brink of disaster. CBS's Nicole Skenga has more on this latest back and forth between Democrats and Republicans.
President Biden met with Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy at the White House on Monday. The two sides negotiating over the debt ceiling.
We both talked about the need for bipartisan agreement. We have to be in a position where we can sell it to our constituencies. Republicans
are demanding deep spending cuts in exchange for raising the debt ceiling. Sources tell CBS News the White House has offered to keep spending flat from this year to next. Republicans, they say, want to increase defense spending while cutting everything else by up to 22%.
I think at the end of the day, we could find common ground, make our economy stronger.
Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen told Congress it's highly likely the U.S. will default on its debt as early as June 1st if no agreement is reached.
I'm angry about it.
Marilyn Ayers is one of 66 million people who could see their Social Security checks delayed.
They are trying to play games with holding the people hostage that need help.
Financial experts are warning of devastating consequences to the global economy.
We're playing Russian roulette with the United States credit, where we're, just allowing congressmen and senators and these politicians to wreak havoc.
Some economists believe more than 1 million jobs could be lost in just the first week. Nicole Skenga, CBS News, the White House.
Other immediate consequences include funding cuts to food stamps and Medicaid, and paychecks to active duty military could be held up. The ACLU of Kentucky has filed a motion for preliminary injunction relief for a portion of Senate Bill 150. The section of the bill would ban essential medical care for transgender youth, and it's scheduled to take effect June 29th. Leaders with the ACLU filed the motion to stop the ban from taking effect while their lawsuit against SB 150 goes through the court system. The NAACP is warning black people and members of the LGBTQ community to not travel to Florida. The group issued a formal travel advisory Saturday, saying in part the state is, quote, openly hostile toward African Americans, people of color, and LGBTQ plus individuals. The NAACP's action comes a day after another civil rights group, the League of United Latin American Citizens, issued a similar travel ban. We talked to the president of the Lexington chapter of the NAACP about the warning today.
It is imperative at this point that we try to affect some type of change so that this type of behavior and these type of policies don't continue to become embedded into the system and grow like a cancer.
The NAACP says this is not a boycott of the state right now, just an advisory. Governor Ron DeSantis is expected to announce his candidacy for president this week. Earlier today, Kentucky State Police launched their Click It or Ticket campaign. KSP Post 13 held a news conference about the importance of the campaign. Public Information Officer Matt Gayhart spoke about why this campaign is vital for the safety of Kentuckians, especially as we approach the summer months and peak travel season.
We're looking at Memorial Day weekend. That's the first extended long holiday weekend that we see right around summertime. We expect there will be increased traffic flow in and out of the counties. So the reason we want to make this push now is because of that increased number of people on the roadways.
Trooper Gayhart says in the event of an accident, the chance of survival is greatly increased if the driver and passengers in the car are wearing a seatbelt. For several years, the Corbin Fire Department has been working with CHI St. Joseph London Hospital to put a safe haven baby box inside the Corbin Fire Station, and earlier today, that idea finally became a reality. The Safe Haven Baby Box at the Corbin Fire Department is the first baby box to come to southeastern Kentucky. Those behind the project say the box serves as another tool to prevent child mortality and to help give children a second chance at a life they deserve.
Any parent that needs to know their resources in Corbin today, tomorrow, next week, there's a 24-hour hotline number on every one of our boxes. It's on our website. You can call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and talk to a licensed counselor. And that's very important because we need to be giving these parents options, not telling them what's best for them. So we're going to give you an adoption plan, a parenting plan, or a safe haven surrender plan.
When a parent chooses to leave their baby in the Safe Haven baby box, the fire department is notified that a baby has been dropped off. Department officials will then take the baby to the nearest hospital before it's turned over to CPS to be placed with an adoptive family. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, a UK student is using his passion to help him recover after a series of strokes. How music is getting him back to normal.
Plus, more sunshine on the way as we head through this week. I'm tracking what it means for Memorial Day weekend coming up after this.
Summer's here.